Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising pay very close attention to what begins moving toward you in the coming days, because the opportunity appearing here may look simple at first, yet it carries consequences that could reach much further than you initially expect. These readings are timeless, so whenever you encounter this message, take it as a sign that the information was meant to reach you at that particular moment. The Page of Cups opens your reading with the image of an unexpected offer, an invitation, or a possibility connected to an investment, a business direction, or a job that you have already been pursuing in some way. What makes this especially meaningful is the connection to something you genuinely enjoy, perhaps a hobby, a personal interest, or an activity you would willingly continue, even if money were not immediately attached to it. This is why the opportunity feels different from ordinary work. It is not simply about earning income. It is about finding a way for something you naturally care about to become connected with financial abundance. The message surrounding this offer is strongly encouraging you to consider accepting it, because the potential shown here is promising, both financially and personally. For Sagittarius, there is an important detail that you should not overlook. The Hermit appears as the figure who brings you information before you make your final move. This person may enter your situation because they recognize something you cannot yet see for yourself. You may be excited about the possibility, but there could be practical details, hidden risks, or better alternatives that you have not considered. This person becomes the one who turns on the light. They may tell you that one particular route carries unnecessary danger, while another route could make everything easier, safer, or more beneficial. Imagine that you are considering a bank loan to finance this opportunity. Someone may step forward and warn you not to choose one bank, because the interest rates could become extremely high, even if the repayment structure initially looks attractive because it offers many installments. That same person could point you toward another bank where the interest rates may be lower, where additional benefits may be available, or where receiving the money you need could be easier. The deeper message is not simply that someone gives you advice, it is that someone who understands the terrain helps you avoid learning every lesson through personal mistakes. If this opportunity concerns employment instead, this person could explain exactly what belongs on your resume, what should be left out, who should receive your application, or what specific action could improve your chances. They may know the correct person to contact, the right place to submit your information, or the step that you would otherwise overlook. Their role is to illuminate the road in front of you so that you do not have to walk blindly. This becomes even more significant because the Three of Wands brings a strong theme of international trade, expansion, and movement beyond familiar boundaries. The person who assists you could therefore offer guidance about traveling abroad, choosing the right hotels, identifying the strongest potential clients, or determining the most suitable location for the job or business opportunity you want. They may help you recognize which area is best for accommodation, which location could be more favorable for starting a business, or which region deserves consideration for an investment. Their knowledge may become extremely practical, even down to warnings about personal safety and the easiest paths to take. They could tell you which places should be avoided at night because getting out safely may become difficult. Or they may explain the risks that exist in a particular environment before you encounter them yourself. If you are selling a product, this person could also explain local customs, what you need to understand about the market, how certain products should be handled, which packages can be shipped, and which packages cannot be shipped. In other words, they are not merely offering an opinion, they are handing you information that can function like a key because they have already experienced the situation you are now approaching. Psychologically, this may be important for you because Sagittarius naturally wants to move forward, explore, experiment, and trust that the next road will reveal itself along the way. Yet this reading suggests that wisdom does not require you to stop your expansion. It requires you to expand with awareness. You do not have to abandon your excitement. You simply need to understand the terrain before you commit yourself fully. The Three of Wands reinforces this sense of growth because something you're already developing can begin producing results and moving into a larger phase. Projects, businesses, or initiatives can start gaining momentum, but the expansion is connected specifically with trade, exchange, delivery, and relationships with clients outside your immediate environment. These clients may be abroad, outside your city, or even outside your country. Something that has existed within a familiar circle now has the potential to reach beyond that circle. What you offer may no longer remain limited to the place where you started. The psychological turning point here is realizing that the boundaries you once considered permanent may have simply been boundaries created by familiarity. You may have become accustomed to thinking locally because that is what feels manageable, but this opportunity begins showing you that what you are creating could have value in places you have not yet considered. Then the Five of Cups appears, bringing a completely different emotional note into the reading. This card suggests that while expansion and opportunity are developing, there may also be an emotional reaction connected with disappointment, regret, or attention towards something that did not happen the way you hoped. This does not erase the opportunity in front of you, but it can influence the way you perceive it. You may be looking backward at what was lost, while something new is quietly becoming available. That is why the next appearance becomes so striking. The Ace of Cups arrives, bringing the unmistakable symbolism of abundance and emotional renewal. After the wake represented by the Five of Cups, this new energy suggests that something fuller is opening before you. The small Page of Cups that first introduced the offer now leads into a much larger emotional and material possibility, while the Hermit provides the knowledge needed to navigate it, and the Three of Wands shows the potential for expansion beyond familiar territory. Sagittarius, the sequence matters because the opportunity, the guidance, the expansion, the emotional realization, and the abundance are all part of the same unfolding story, and the next part of this message will reveal what this developing energy means for you in even greater depth. Sagittarius, there is something very important you need to understand before you judge what is happening in front of you, because what first looks like money leaving your hands may actually be the beginning of money returning to you in a much greater form. I always pay close attention when this card appears, and now we have the Ace of Pentacles beside it, creating an especially powerful message around material opportunity and abundance. Let us begin with the emotional weight shown by the Five of Cups. When you move forward with this expansion, you may have to place some of your own capital into the project. That part may bother you more than you expect. You could look at the amount leaving your account and immediately think, this is too much, this is a loss, this is a major expense, or perhaps I've made a mistake. But Sagittarius, the message here is asking you to change the way you name that experience. What you are calling a loss is actually an investment. It may represent a substantial portion of your available capital, but it does not consume everything you have. You are putting part of your resources into something that has the potential to return far more than what you originally placed into it. The Five of Cups shows the emotional reaction, the fear of watching something leave before you can see what comes back. That is where your mind could become trapped. You may focus so intensely on the temporary reduction that you fail to recognize the purpose behind it. The Ace of Cups changes that perspective completely because it speaks about happiness, abundance, prosperity, fulfillment, and a return that carries an emotional reward along with the financial one. Money arriving does not automatically create happiness, but this particular combination suggests that what comes toward you can also bring satisfaction, relief, achievement, and the feeling that your effort finally produced something meaningful. You are not simply receiving money, you are experiencing the emotional confirmation that your decision had value. There is also a powerful theme of abundance and fertility here in every possible sense. If you have been hoping to expand your family and have spent a long time feeling disappointed because you wanted a baby, these cards carry a very direct message for that situation. The Five of Cups can reflect the tears, frustration, and emotional suffering connected with wanting to become a parent, while the Ace of Cups can indicate the arrival of a baby. For those who are already expecting a baby, this combination can be read as a clear yes. For those who do not want a baby, however, the fertility symbolism becomes a warning to pay attention, because this energy can work in the opposite direction as well. If pregnancy is something you are actively trying to avoid, be particularly careful because fertility is one of the strongest themes being shown here. The same principle extends into agriculture and anything connected with cultivation. If you work with crops or grow something from the ground, this combination points toward a favorable harvest. You planted something, you waited, you invested time and resources, and now the results can begin appearing. That connects directly with the Three of Wands from earlier, because the seeds represented there are tied to expansion, business creation, and the willingness to move beyond your previous limits. Some of you may have started a business while experiencing financial pressure along the way. You may have had moments when the cost of moving forward made you question whether you had chosen correctly. You may even have cried over the amount you had to put into the process because you feared that the money would never return. But the message here is that the cycle is turning. The capital you placed into the process has the potential to come back with a significant return, and that return can bring genuine happiness with it. This is why the reading keeps circling back to money, because the symbolism of food, fertility, growth, and cultivation naturally connects with economic prosperity. Something grows, something produces, something becomes valuable, and that value can be exchanged for money. People often say that money does not grow on trees, but in the most literal sense, crops and fruit can be cultivated, sold, and transformed into income, while paper money itself is historically connected with plant-based materials. That makes the imagery of the Ace of Cups especially striking in this reading, because the idea of abundance, growing from what has been cultivated, mirrors exactly what you are experiencing. Then the Ace of Pentacles adds another layer, suggesting that this material opportunity can feel almost like something placed directly into your hands. Yes, your work matters. Yes, you planned for this. Yes, you made decisions, expanded, invested, endured the pressure, and continued even when you were afraid. But there is also an element of timing that feels larger than your individual effort. Depending on what you believe, you may experience it as a gift from God, the universe, your angels, your higher self, or another spiritual source you trust. The important point is that the return may arrive in a way that feels surprisingly generous. You expected some form of result because you knew you had invested, but you may not have expected the scale of what is about to come back. That is why these two cards together are so significant. The Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles represent two powerful forms of abundance, appearing side by side: emotional abundance and material abundance. It can certainly make you wonder whether something extraordinary, even something as unexpected as a lottery win, could happen. But there is still a practical message inside all of this symbolism. If you want the possibility of a lottery result, you still have to participate by purchasing the ticket. It is unlikely that the ticket will simply appear in your hand or magically arrive at your door. Could something strange and unexpected happen, perhaps? But that is not the central lesson. The deeper message is that opportunity still requires participation. You have already planted a seed, and now you must recognize the difference between watching your investment leave and understanding that you are giving something space to grow. The next part of this reading will take us deeper into what this approaching abundance means and why the return may feel so much larger than what you originally expected. Sagittarius, remember this part carefully, because abundance does not mean that you sit still and wait for everything to appear in front of you. The message is not telling you to buy every lottery ticket you can find or to throw your resources into random chances. Not at all. What it is showing you is something much more practical and much more powerful. An opportunity can arrive, the potential for abundance can be enormous, and the return can be significant. But you still have to recognize the opening and decide to walk through it. If you never take the first step, the possibility remains only a possibility. Your planning, your decision, and your willingness to participate are what activate the opportunity that is already being shown to you. And Sagittarius, when the cards speak about abundance here, they are not pointing toward a tiny improvement or a small amount that barely changes anything. They're describing a considerable level of abundance, something substantial enough to require you to think differently about how you handle your resources. Now the Eight of Pentacles appears, and this changes the focus from simply receiving to learning. You are going to develop a skill, improve something you already know, or become much more capable in an area that will matter for your future. This becomes especially important if a large amount of money enters your life, because receiving money and knowing how to preserve it are two completely different abilities. You may need to study investments, understand where your resources should be placed, learn how to manage a business, prepare for a career change, or understand the financial decisions connected with whatever expansion you choose. The cards are showing a period in which you refine yourself so that you can handle the circumstances arriving around you. Perhaps you learn how to organize your finances more effectively. Perhaps you become more disciplined with your economic resources. Perhaps you discover that financial growth requires knowledge, patience, and continuous improvement rather than simply having money available. The Eight of Pentacles says that mastery will matter. Then the King of Pentacles arrives, and this is where the direction becomes very clear. The result of this learning process is connected with economic stability and financial stability. You are not simply being shown money coming in and then disappearing again. The King of Pentacles represents the ability to maintain resources, manage them intelligently, and potentially make them productive over time. This is about having enough financial security to create something durable, something that can remain part of your life for a long period. The psychological shift here is important because sudden improvement can sometimes create as much pressure as scarcity. When you have struggled financially, your mind can become accustomed to protecting every small resource because you are afraid of losing it. When circumstances improve, you must learn a new relationship with money. You must move from survival thinking toward stewardship, from reacting to planning, and from simply receiving toward knowing how to maintain what you receive. But Sagittarius, there is another warning hidden inside this reading, and you should not ignore it. The false man appears, pointing toward a man or masculine energy that may be close to you and may not be completely genuine. This does not necessarily mean that the person will openly reveal bad intentions. In fact, the warning is asking you to pay attention to subtle details. Listen not only to the words being spoken, but also to the tone behind those words. Watch for inconsistencies, unusual behavior, pressure, or advice that seems designed to benefit someone else more than it benefits you. The important thing is to identify the energy before it becomes a problem. If significant capital begins entering your life, you need to be especially cautious around anyone who suddenly becomes interested in your resources. This could involve a lawyer, a friend, a colleague, someone connected with a contract, or a person who becomes involved when you begin making agreements abroad. If you start negotiating international contracts or preparing to sign important documents, someone may attempt to take advantage of the situation, manipulate the terms, or create some kind of scheme around you. So do not allow excitement about financial growth to make you careless. Protect your resources, examine what you are signing, and pay attention to the people who become unusually interested in what you are building. Then the Empress appears, bringing the message back toward creation, action, growth, and abundance. Sagittarius, this card encourages you to take what has been living inside your imagination and begin giving it a physical form. Your creative projects, your ideas, and the things you have been considering can become much more successful when you stop treating them as distant dreams and start treating them as something you are capable of developing. The Empress once again reinforces the theme of abundance and economic prosperity, but she also reminds you that abundance grows through cultivation. You plant something, you care for it, you learn what it needs, you protect it from what could damage it, and eventually it produces something valuable. That is the largest story being repeated throughout your reading. The opportunity requires action, the money requires management, the expansion requires knowledge, and the abundance requires discernment. Sagittarius, if you want to anchor the strongest message from this reading within yourself, place this phrase in the comments: I always receive abundance and economic prosperity. Repeated with intention, not merely as words, but as a reminder that you are willing to recognize opportunity, take the necessary first step, develop the knowledge required to manage what arrives, and protect what you build from people who do not have your best interests at heart. I always receive abundance and economic prosperity. That is the affirmation connected with the energy shown here, especially with the two aces that appeared for you, and with that message, I will see you in the next video.